So welcome to another question and answer. We're glad we're able to bring you these we're almost every week. With Jimmy today, this is exciting because everybody's here before Thanksgiving, and we want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
That's right, big time of the year. Another day closer to Christmas, New Year, and all that. It's a great time.
Jimmy just informed me that he makes his own pies, he bakes his own bread, and he raised his own turkey this year. Is that true, Jimmy?
Yeah, actually, we are now looking for the turkey. He got away this morning.
But isn't it a problem?
I think it was the dog that got helped out on that one.
Well, I think it's a problem when you name your turkey and then at dinner time, it's kind of hard to eat Fred or Betty when you've named them. It's a little difficult. I mean, don't you grow fond of these turkeys as you raise them?
Not if I know what's going to be on my table.
We're kidding about the turkey, but Jimmy does make his own pies.
I am making two pies. I'm making a pumpkin and a coconut cream this year.
Coconut cream, wow.
This coconut.
Coconut fiber pie or
something. I give a gesture here, but we're on TV, so let's imagine that for a second, everybody.
Somehow the coconut always comes back around.
I know the coconut is you should look into a coconut farm.
You know what?
Somewhere.
When I leave this world, you guys are going to start throwing coconut balls out.
It could be. You know what will happen?
Malcolm says I watched the first two Shellback videos, the first two classes.
Oh, please tell us what she thinks of them.
Malcolm.
What, Malcolm bought them already, Jimmy.
Well, I think he was he got the subscription, so it's part of that one.
So does he have any comments about them, or just said that he purchased?
He enjoyed them.
Oh, that's great. Jimmy looks like Aquaman in that, and I informed Jimmy as a superhero. That's kind of a weak superhero because, as I
don't say that. You'll have
That's
people
not
knocking
even
on
true.
the.
I'm offended by that.
You will have people knocking on the door here. Then we're gonna have to defend you. And you know what?
I don't think you realize a lot's changed since the '60s.
Yeah, well, Aquaman, the character's expanded quite a bit. I mean, all these.
Well, I keep thinking Aqua Velvet. What does he do? Put
Aqua Velvet. Pretty soon you'll be start talking about high karate.
So you should mention what you're talking about. Jimmy's new class is live.
Jimmy's new class is live, the Shellback, and he is seen at the beach with shells all around him.
If you wanted to, I would have happily gone down to Florida for a weekend, guys. I would have brought the missus, but I'm sure she would have gone with me anyway.
By the way, if you like that, if you like Jimmy's show, and if you have waterfront property and you want to donate it, you can donate it to Jimmy.
I'll do the house over. Then where? Tell me where, and I'll help out. I swear to God.
If not, you can just pretend and watch the Shellback class.
But I am going to warn you. This is kind of like a holiday show, so we're going to add a little entertainment.
Oh God.
Jimmy's going to sing Jingle Bells. And
it's too soon for Jingle Bells.
Yeah, I thought it was Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Hey, how come Thanksgiving? Yeah, there is no.
Randy says pecan pie is his favorite.
Pecan.
Oh, I haven't actually. You know what, Randy? Chocolate pecan pie. Have you ever had that? I made it once before.
That sounds good.
For somebody, and it came out great.
That sounds really good.
Yeah.
Do you pick your own pecans?
You really believe I get?
He can't stop today.
Oh
well, I told you, it's a holiday
I told you to get off those drugs, man. They're no good.
Oh, no, that's not nice, is it, Patrick? What he just said. Everything was light until he said that. Anyhow, we'll forgive you because it is the holiday show.
Oh, yeah.
I just recently had to beep Jimmy out on one of the Shellback classes.
Yeah, people don't realize that half of the class is a beep. If he didn't, we would get at least double the amount of footage out of these classes.
Oh my God.
So watch out, class 7 of the Shellback.
Oh, so
there's an unfortunate edit in there.
So you replaced it with some type of an
What'd you do? Put a Looney Tune on or something?
It was, I think a cow, right, Michaela? Well, he ended up using.
I think he tried an elephant at first, but that was too
loud. I think it is an elephant.
Oh, it's an elephant. Oh
my God! You guys
never mind.
Anyway,
but anyhow, let's get back.
I don't want to spoil it. We'll see and find out.
No.
So Jimmy,
actually, it's too bad we didn't have unedited versions of the show and even of this, for example.
Well, you two would be at our door. You say Aquaman fans would be at the door. You should see how fast YouTube.
I'm already very insulted by that comment.
I don't know. Aquaman to me, he can't leave the water, so he's only good on the ocean. That's not true, they tell me. I always thought when I grew up, he couldn't leave.
Yeah, I'll say this about some of the superheroes. They have underestimated some of them, and I'll say do you remember a character called Spawn?
Yeah, he was cool.
Yes.
Spawn.
Yeah. Now,
Spawn.
That came in well before all these superhero things came
I
out.
don't even know who it is. What
Okay,
does he
well-
look like? What
Spawn's a Marvel character.
Yes, he's a Marvel character. They did a movie on him,
Ah,
and it came out really well. I mean, I believe it was Michael J. White was the starring
Uh-huh.
actor in it,
Uh-huh.
but they never expanded on it. And I thought,
Could be the name, Jimmy.
Michael J. White, oh my God,
Yeah, everyone who's
martial
joining.
artist.
I have no idea what he's talking
Everybody
about.
who's joining now, happy Thanksgiving. A lot
Happy
of people are saying
Thanksgiving.
happy Thanksgiving.
You just tuned into Jimmy talking about a character in one of his comic books when he was a young man called Spawn, which I never heard of. I must have missed that whole thing.
Yeah, yeah. You know, well, living out in the burbs as a child, they're probably obviously you probably
I want a comment about Ant-Man, though. I think he was underestimated.
you like him.
Well, recently, I don't know if you've been watching the news, but they recently have, with the high definition microscope, they showed a face of an ant. And you guys at home can Google this, and it's the most terrifying picture I've ever seen. It looks like the most hideous monster you could
No, if we
imagine.
have that, we can get into the fibers of the fabric. If we have that camera.
The coconut
Yeah,
side,
right
that'd be
in,
kind of
yeah.
cool.
that would be nice. That would
Yeah.
be a.
But you know who's the gross? The Predator has the ugliest face.
So who's he? Oh, I don't like that show. That scares me every
No,
time.
no, the one without the movie.
Yeah,
without-
when he looks up and when he says, "What
Takes
are you?"
takes
and
the,
then he says, "What are you?" And then he throws the bomb down, and Arnold runs away.
We're off to a good start here.
We're
I
gonna
know
start.
more.
We're gonna start our own convention soon. I can see this. But that's what we can do. We can have like a side shop.
But that's a good scene, though, when at the end when Arnold has won pretty much, and he does the thing on his wrist.
Yeah.
Right. That's
Yeah.
scary.
It is scary. No, that was like a definite way to go. But
Hey.
anyway, Patrick is moving us along here, so because we got to talk
So,
about.
do we have any comments on Jimmy's
We have a
humor?
lot of YouTube. comments,
Okay.
I think, yeah, and then there is one submission from the Facebook.
Do you want to do that first, Patrick?
Sure, I have it up here.
Okay. Binge watched a bunch of YouTubes. I suggest that if you're going to watch the YouTubes, never drive and listen to them because they do make you drowsy.
It must be your soothing voice, right?
Found the Facebook page. Jimmy and Kevin are hysterical.
Especially
Really?
today.
Inspired me to take apart my dining room chairs,
Oh my God.
but now my indecisiveness has brought me to a standstill.
Oh, do you have a picture of that?
Almost. He's got it up there, but I'll give it to you in a minute. Should I ditch the boards and do webbing, burlap, new foam, etc., or just reupholster foam on the board? I plan on selling the set. What do you all want to do?
Well, I
with
said
it?
webbing, and the reason I said it was the fact that
But when you said webbing, what were you in reference to where the webbing was going to be, Jimmy?
underneath.
Underneath what, the chair?
Yeah.
So if you notice that chair, the frame is a very delicate frame.
Yes.
So webbing it probably is not a good idea for a variety of reasons.
Okay.
So what I did is did you see my comment after yours? You
No.
had it half right about the webbing.
Okay.
Do you remember what I said?
Webbing on top.
No, if she wants that any better, first of all, people were just saying keep the boards, keep the original, don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I made a comment, she is going to try to get more comfort,
Mm-hmm.
she can, and she wants to take the trouble, this is a lot of trouble, she can frame it like the old frames. The old slip seats were framed and then webbed over the opening and burlapped and then padded out. You'd be surprised at the difference that makes over a board.
Okay. Well, here's the reason I'm looking at this now is
She, I think, is here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did she
I know you did comment on this on the forum, but
Right.
you can do it live.
yeah. I mean, this is why sometimes. But anyway, the reason I'm looking at this now, my father redid an entire dining room set, and was almost like this. The chairs. What he did was he got a piece of plywood. He used that as the base and used
Right.
foam
Right.
and, the material over that, and it worked just right. I mean, in the picture I didn't see it as well with the ridges. I thought it was completely flat, and that's why I said the webbing underneath it, kind of like what we did with one of the things.
We
that-
could do that. Some pieces you can do that. On
Okay.
these one you could. So you need a slip seat or an independent piece that comes off the chair and then upholstered and then put back on.
Okay.
So you'd be surprised though what a framed slip seat that's webbed and burlapped
Okay.
will do. And I'm not talking rubber webbing. I'm talking about the BFM jute webbing.
Okay.
So you'd be surprised at what that would it's like a trampoline effect almost.
Okay.
It actually does make it more comfortable. It's hard to believe, but it is. A board will feel like a board no matter what you put on it.
Right. I think my father used he didn't use quarter inch. He used there was a piece of plywood. He custom cut it and everything
Well,
was
he
fine.
probably did a really good DIY job.
Oh, excellent.
And
Yeah,
he
this-
did it when there was no YouTube videos. He did it on his
No,
own.
I mean he had it looked at that and said, "This is the way I'm going to go with it. This is what I need to
Yeah.
do."
Saved himself a lot of money.
Oh, he did a great job.
By doing
Fantastic.
it
I love it.
himself.
He's the one that got me started in refinishing.
No, no kidding.
No,
That's
I kid you
great.
not.
That's nice. So do you want to read the YouTube videos? Is that off screen now, Michaela, that Facebook thing?
Yes.
Okay. And if there's any comments before Jimmy starts on his YouTube adventure?
No.
Okay. So Jimmy, you can start. Hopefully.
This is from Linda Randalls. This is the redesigning a saddle seat from springs to foam. Thank you so much is the comment. I don't know what, I did not see that one, so.
I'm not sure. We've done so many. Sometimes I forget which one is. But thank you for the compliment.
Okay. The Shellback, week 1, lessons 1 and 2, measuring in webbing. I noticed, this is from Miss K. Is this an online class? If not, where are you located? So we can tell.
So tell me, yes, it is an online class.
Yes.
And that Shellback is currently up now at Upholstery on Broadway, right, Michaela?
Well, how many lessons was that?
They can go to Upholstery on Broadway at, what's the website?
Upholsteryonbroadway.com.
.com, and then sign up for that class, and starring Jimmy in the Shellback. And if you see that tab, they probably saw the tab on Facebook, I would imagine, Michaela. They may have seen it on YouTube. Does Patrick
The link?
advertise the class on YouTube?
Yeah.
Not on YouTube, but he advertises it on Facebook, Instagram.
So they might have seen it somewhere else as a finger tab, or whatever they call it. And you'll see Jimmy surrounded by seashells.
Yes, you guys didn't send me to Florida like I asked you to send me. That's okay. It's all right. Don't worry about it.
But you sign up as the Upholstery on Broadway.
Are
Yes.
So the next comment is from Linda Randalls again. Obviously, she was on a roll here. This is regarding how to upholster the 1860s chair, part 4, stuffing the seat. Oh, thank you for part 4 and not leaving me hanging on. I love this channel.
Oh, good. It's one of the few, I think, that A to Z's that we did. You know, we don't get to do a lot of A to Z's on YouTube. There is, believe it or not, I hate to have cop out here, but they're a lot of work. One of the main reasons is that most of the furniture, if not all, is customers' furniture. So when I start a project, it has, the customer's waiting for it. I can't extend the time sometimes.
No, right.
So
Well, it would be nice. I mean, if you said, "Oh, I have this chair," oh, they're not talking. But like you say, the people are asking for it within a reasonable amount of time.
we have enough of them, but I did want to say that when I noticed Patrick was telling me one upholsterer, and I don't criticize any upholsterer. Anybody that I think it's great. All the content's great. You're going to learn from any of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's one guy who just runs the camera all day or something like that. And I think the only problem with that is there's no explanations. And I try to, in every video we explain. And then on the online classes, if you guys are watching this and you're wondering what we're doing here, sitting here, the online classes are where you really get the bang. I mean, you're going to pay a little bit of money, but you're really getting a lot. Like, you're going to be talking a little bit later on this project that I'm really excited about, that Jimmy finished the arm. Jimmy finished it's a pleated button arm on the top, which is
Yes.
a little harder than on the front, because the reason it is because anything laying flat, ask any refinisher that does tabletops, they'll tell you, anything laying flat is a lot, and Michaela would know this because she's an art student, it's seen so much more than something that's up like this.
Right.
So most of the times your button is on the front of it.
Well, like I said to you at the end here, it was this type of these arms here, and even probably the other one that I'm doing in your class. Those are the type of things people want to see probably of YouTube. How to.
I don't think you're going to get the full lesson on YouTube, though. That's the point.
Yeah.
You're going to get it on the online classes, and you have to
Okay.
pay a little bit for it. But
Yeah.
if you've got a shellback, if you've got a settee, if you've got pleated, you want to know about pleats. If you want to know about wings,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to know about how to cut around posts, and these were challenging posts to cut around, and it's endless. That even now on the online classes that we have, endless lessons in there that much more in depth than the YouTube videos that we offer for free.
Oh yeah.
And we like the fact that we have people out there who have started unbelievably successful businesses. I mean, not everybody, but there's one individual that we've had on here, and he's just growing and growing almost every year. And he's looking now, this is great because he started with my YouTube videos, and right now he's actually asking people to apply for his business. He's actually not only himself found thriving work, but he's also employing other people and paying them really good wages.
This is it.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
You know, I mean, that's the type of thing, like you said about, I think you mentioned it before, with talking about, you know, people asking you about refinishing some projects that they bring in. They want it all stripped down. They want everything taken care of. You just don't, right now, you don't have at least the room for it.
I because we're in a very tight commercial market, a very expensive commercial market and residential, it's hard to expand. But where this individual is, he's in Alabama, he can, there's a lot of storefronts. You know, we get a lot across this country. We get a lot of main streets that are still empty.
I know.
So it's good to see a young man open up. And I told him when he first opened that he could be a star of his community or multiple communities by being a successful businessman and offering all kinds of goodwill in the neighborhood. And he's doing exactly that. He's got a lot of energy. He's young. He's under 30. And I'm really happy for him, and I want him continued success.
Oh, I think we should. That would be a field trip to go down to.
That would be.
And,
That'd be
and
great.
Randy
He's
too, as well.
visited me.
I know,
So
and I
would
was
like to
working that
visit
day.
him. Oh, you met Blair? Did
No, I did not. I
Oh.
was working that day.
Right,
I
that's
guess-
right. I thought you were, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Thought you were working
Did
with
you
me
take
that
him out
day.
to lunch and kind of?
No, but we didn't have a lot of time. He didn't have a lot of time, but we post pictures. If you want to see it on Facebook, I think it's on Facebook.
Oh, okay,
This young man,
okay.
real good guy.
Yeah. So anyway,
So what's
next
the
one
next
is.
question?
No, this is
Oh.
again from Linda. My God, how to upholster the 1860s Part 3, Springtime. You're a fantastic teacher. I love the older furniture. It's always beautiful and so well made. But in collecting pieces, they're in pretty bad shape. So happy I found you. I've been watching for 2 days.
Wow.
We gotta pull her away from the TV for a day.
No, it's a compliment.
We gotta get her outside.
Thanks for the
a while.
compliments, but I do want to say that it's my students that make me that force you to be a better teacher, really, because it's just.
Well, I think honestly, you know, there are people that can know a subject backwards and forwards, and if you do not have the personality nor the level of intelligence, when I say that I mean it by knowing how to approach people and how to say, okay, we are all on a different learning curve, try to approach it. How do you think they need to understand what I'm doing to make sure they can do it the next time by themselves?
Right. That's an interesting observation because everybody has different learning styles. They're at different skill levels. Some people have never picked up a hammer before, and we cater to every single learning that is out there, Jimmy. So what's the next question?
This is the easy Victorian chair fix. It's this simple, I guess. And this is from Chi Blanchette. I appreciate your video so much. Thank you.
Thank you. I love the compliments, you guys. Keep them coming. What's the next one?
Yeah. Again from Linda. This is the rare find. How to upholster the 1860s antique Part 1. And you're a time traveler, she says.
Well, you know what's interesting she say that, right? Because when you think about it, if you've got a chair that old, you've in the very least have a time capsule, Jimmy. I just was reading on Facebook where somebody somewhere took up a 40-year time capsule. That chair there had 1860, 1960, add another, oh my goodness, 50 years onto that. Oh,
my God.
60 years. So you're talking 160 years that potentially could contain somewhat of a time capsule. What that means is anything of that era could be contained in that chair. It could be plant material. It could be, let's say from 1860, a pocket watch, an old pocket watch. It could be, in that case, we found identification on a piece of burlap from a factory in Kansas City And that's how we could pinpoint the chair that was at Kansas City. And in that time frame, there were cowboys,
Right.
shootouts and things. We had fun with that one. That's what she was referring to.
Okay. This, the shellback back chair. This is from Selwyn and Debbie's Dream a couple of days ago. Beautiful fabric on that chair.
Which one was that? The shellback. Your
Right.
fabric. You picked that out, didn't you?
I had that, actually I had that for another project, but it was sitting in my closet and I said, let me see if I can do this.
Well,
because-
why don't you tell people why it was a challenge?
Well, this was actually the second channelback chair I did.
I mean, the fabric.
Oh, the fabric was, I don't remember.
You had a stripe in the fabric.
Well, we had a pattern in the back. Yeah, but
Pattern and a stripe.
yes.
It's a double whammy. The only worse fabric would have been a plaid.
Well, yeah. Okay. All right. Let's just keep going.
No, it was a tough fabric, but you did a good job.
Well, I mean, we lined it up. I mean, again, one of the things that people have to remember is your symmetry. From the top to the bottom, everything has to be lined up right. You don't want to
That's
go
right.
something's
There was some math involved, wasn't there?
a little bit of math, and of course, when you're doing matching things up, you are going to be having a little bit more fabric being used. So those are one of the things you have to kind of remember, especially whether it's a channelback chair or wingback. You kind of say, oh, wait a minute, hold on a second. One of the little foundations of upholstery.
Yep, and you did a great job. So what's the next question?
Let's see. Online class, question and answer for week 1 and 2. My husband has a 10-inch drill press. Can I use that to make buttons?
I don't think so. I mean, a button machine, and they call it a machine because it has more than 2 moving parts. Anything, I didn't know this, any piece of equipment with more than 2 moving parts is a machine. Everything else under that is a tool, right? So you have tools and machines. The button machine, though, I'm not sure if she's understanding the concept of making buttons.
Well, maybe she has an idea that it could. I think
I don't think
she
so.
can try. She'd be careful with the drill press.
Yeah, I don't think she can do it. She needs let me show people. I got it right here. Chief Michaela, could you turn the camera over to my button machine over here? This is the button machine. So you need the bottom part, which the shank part of the button fits into, and it's sprung. And there's this big spring up here, so you can see I never actually counted how many parts there were to this, but you got your handle, you got your shaft inside here, you got your spring, that's 3, right?
Yeah.
You've got your plate, that's 4. You've got your bottom shaft piece with the spring, that's 5, right? And then you've got the top piece where your shell goes into, the top of the button goes into here, the fabric goes in between basically. And that's 6, right? At least 6.
Okay.
And then I don't know if you want to include the 2, the button portion and the shank portion.
Well,
and the
maybe
fabric.
she does it. All I say is be careful because you're working with a drill press, and maybe
But
definitely.
is she referring to maybe she has these 2 pieces and she's got the I don't know.
Maybe she has to lock them in because otherwise it's.
No, she would be better off. I'm going to give her a little piece of advice. If she can't afford, this is an expensive setup, and believe it or not, the dies. These are called dies. Those are the most expensive part of the whole setup.
How much?
We're talking about maybe $400 altogether with this, plus the buttons and
Happy
other.
Mother's Day.
Yeah, really. But there's an easier solution. I don't always recommend this because it's not as good. But in your arts and crafts stores, they do have hand button makers.
Well,
So if you do that, though, if you're going to do a hand button, you have to make sure that you test it to make sure. For upholstery, it takes a little bit, of a
well, you
beating.
probably want more of a heavy duty versus like. say,
Yeah, I mean, always get the best of whatever you're going to buy in an art store.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, you really have to kind of look at them and say,
but
what.
before you apply the button, make sure you run a twine behind the shaft and try to pull it apart. If it pulls apart easy, you don't want to use it. But then you could come up with another solution, Jimmy. You could take a hot glue gun, and you can, when you put it together, you can hot glue it. Somebody once called an upholsterer MacGyver. You know who MacGyver was, right?
Oh, why don't you tell the crowd? Why don't you tell some of these?
Well, MacGyver was a guy that comes up with these solutions, right,
Right,
Jimmy?
yeah. So we could basically take a pencil and probably like an elastic and quarter a cup of water and build a bomb or something.
By the way, I'm glad I brought up MacGyver because if she has can you hand me that shaft, that button, that big button? So if you have a big button, an old button, and that you want to recover it, I think I have a YouTube video that shows you how to make a hand button without the shaft part. It's just you cover it over. You make a circle. It's about a little bit bigger than this, about a third bigger than this, and then you run your thread, which is a hand sewn thread, not the heavy thread. On this side, you just run your twine around the edges, and then you do a slip knot, which you see on my YouTube videos.
Okay.
So you want to talk about a MacGyver? There's a MacGyver right there, right? And then when you do your slip knot, you pull it really tight, and then you end up with a nice button on this side.
Okay.
And then you can take another needle and run it through this way, through the fabric, and have the two ends of the twine come out like this so that you can pull it through with another button needle through the chair. You see that?
Okay.
Maybe we'll show that in a
I
video
think, yeah,
someday.
see, one thing, I want to, well, I mean, we've been talking about future projects after this is all said and done, so we're gonna.
So what's the next one?
At the next Board of Directors meeting, when is that?
Board of Directors?
Yeah.
We have one every night. It's an
Really?
emergency meeting.
So basically I haven't been invited to those either.
Oh no, it's all about you. What are we gonna? It usually starts off. What are we gonna do with this guy? He won't leave.
He keeps coming back. We keep moving and he keeps finding us. Anyway, this is the upholstering a sofa, part 1, stripping the fabric. I'm going to try and do this with my couch. My cat peed in the corner of it, and all my cushions are attached to the back.
Yeah.
So I can't throw it in the washer.
Right.
This would save me from dropping $1,000 on a new couch.
And the YouTube videos, that's what it's all about, saving money and promoting new businesses across this
Well,
great world of ours.
how would you clean that? I mean,
She's talking about the innards, I guess, where it's an semi-attached cushion, and we show people how to take out foam or the Dacron that's in there. She's doing it for another reason. The reason we have is to restuff it to make it look better. But what she's going to do is take it out and probably either throw it away or wash it, or try to wash it, and then put it back.
yeah.
So she's got another reason. I will tell you, guys know cat urine is one of the strongest
Yeah.
smells known to man.
Yeah.
It's really hard. You might want to look into if that doesn't work. There's an ozone treatment that works on smoke, I know. I'm not sure about cat urine. But ozone treatments are fascinating. I don't know how it works.
I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if you'd actually take a trip to either Lowe's or Home Depot and look through.
I don't know if they'd have something like that.
Well, they have everything else. They have them,
Yeah.
pest control things. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. If in the cleaning section they have something like that.
Maybe they have something that neutralizes it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So what's the next
The
one?
next one is from Lovey. This is regarding the American Victorian sofa, stripping and measuring for fabric. Did you create a playlist to show this job in full? I can't find the subsequent videos to this couch.
So we apologize because I'm not sure. I don't think that does. But the apology is that sometimes we can only show sections of these. I know that that's irritating for you sometimes. But when you look for any continuation on YouTube, look for the A to Z. We don't number them. We go A to Z. It's A to Z, not necessarily from A to Z, but you know what you get it. So if you see something A to Z, that's the continuation ones. The other ones, unfortunately, might be one or two or just one. You're fired.
Yeah.
Before we ask the next one, Michaela, we have any other comments on there?
Nope.
Okay.
Well, there are a few comments, but no questions.
Are the comments relevant to what we're talking about? Do you want to read them? Or?
It's Malcolm and Randy talking about button dyes and where to find a cheaper alternative.
Do they go on to? You can read that.
Yeah, Malcolm says for light use, Gold Star Tool in LA sells a hand press and also button dyes for under $100.
Wow. So
Wow.
for a beginner,
Mm-hmm.
that's an excellent referral. And does he link that on there or anything?
No, but he has the name of what it is.
That's what I love about our people.
You can post that again, right? Be able to
Well,
post
he has
that.
the company name. That should be
Yeah,
enough
he
for
has the
most
company
people.
name.
You ready for the next one, Jimmy? Jimmy, you're doing a stellar job. We may have to give
I'm
you that
doing my
raise.
gin
that
and
you-
tonic. You guys stop interrupting my cocktail hour. The next one is regarding how to use and choose trim. Is it possible to use trim instead of along the edges of a furniture? I'm trying to fix an old fainting chair that I got from a garage sale. It had gimp trim originally, but the edges of the seat were very well loved by the claws of a previous owner's cat, and I can't find a new gimp trim to match the old one, where it's still in good condition. I did find a white jacquard ribbon that matches the chair's fabric and the old gimp very well, and can hide the damaged edges of the original fabric. My only problem is that the top of the ribbon will overlap the cushion part of the seat, and I'm not sure if I can use the glue gun to keep that in place, or if I need to carefully sew the top edge in place.
It's a tricky one. I mean, anytime you go beyond the gimp, keep in mind gimp is made to glue. It's a material that glues well. It sounds like this trim that she has may be like a satiny or silky. That's always really difficult, if not impossible, to get glue gun to stick. And by the way, if you're using a glue gun, I've mentioned this many times before, but it's worth mentioning again. Make sure that it's a hot glue. If it's got two settings, make sure if it has two settings, have it on the high setting. The low settings do not work. And industrial glue guns are the best. The only downside to that is they'll burn you.
Yes.
So you have to be aware of that. Most of the glue guns that they sell, in these art stores, they're not hot enough. They don't want people getting burnt. I think they use a low setting guns.
Yes. Yes.
So it does not work in upholstery. Let me tell you, you need to make sure that glue has to be really hot when it comes out. And we have videos on how to put glue on, but that's not her question. Her question is this particular trim, and it's a good idea. I talk about, she's problem solving. I would try to. There are gimps out there that are wider. I know that they come maybe even twice as wide as the average gimp that she might want to look into. But make sure that she gets the gimp that she has on there. Try to duplicate the feel of that or the material used for that. Don't go to and when you're hand stitching around those areas, remember that when you hand stitch, you need 2 folded pieces of fabric normally to hand stitch.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't sound
Now, what's
like
the
she
widest
has that.
gimp is? I mean, because I've used it a couple of times, so it's about a quarter of an inch, half an
Half
inch,
inch.
half inch. To,
Aesthetically, a half inch in almost all trimming, whether it be double welt, whether it be a French nail,
okay.
whether it be gimp.
Okay.
I can't think of any other ones, but it's always aesthetically looks better as a half inch. You'd be surprised when you start increasing or decreasing trim sizes
Mm-hmm.
and how it doesn't look quite right.
Right. Well, I think the standard of certain, kind of just like when you're doing carpentry, it's certain.
It's like those pipings that are going around where you're sitting.
Yeah.
That's a 5/32 welt cord that is a pretty standard welt cord. So when you start going to a smaller cord, you're making it somewhat of a statement.
Mm-hmm.
Usually they do that on throw pillows and things like that.
Right.
But it's this attention to detail that we as upholsterers have to really pay attention to. And we're going to have a question in a minute, but Jimmy,
Yes.
you're going to talk about those details when you get up to talk about your chair in today's online class. But we have a question right now.
Yes, Malcolm asks, do you use high temperature glue for the hot glue guns?
I never even looked into that. There's my glue gun, my glue stick here. And I'm sure it is, because I get this from my upholsterer supplier who's been around over 100 years. So I'm sure he's using the proper glue. But Malcolm, he has a good point. The glue is important, so you got to make sure that you get your glue from a reputable dealer, right?
Yeah.
Because I've had glue.
Mm-hmm.
I've had glue that didn't work too.
No way.
Yeah, I've had glue that did not work. In my hot glue gun, I've had glue.
Did you know that at the moment, or did you find out?
I know right away when it doesn't work.
Okay.
Because when you put it on,
It's.
it doesn't stick, or it starts to. What happens when you have an indication of either a bad gun or a bad glue
Mm-hmm.
is that at first it doesn't stick, and then another indication is it flakes almost immediately.
Oh.
So you have
I
to
never
be
had
careful
that.
of that. Well,
I mean,
you wouldn't have that with me because we use the hot glue gun. We use the right glue gun and the
Right.
right sticks.
I know, but you said, oh, it's so hot. And I said, okay, and I was paying attention to that.
Yeah.
But you could just tell right off the bat that once you put it on, once you put the gimp
Yeah.
on and moved along,
Yeah.
you say, oh my God, wow, it's like
Nothing could be worse than getting a whole. Sometimes you get a whole job done and you don't realize that the glue didn't work properly. You always need to be checking. So once in a while, you guys, when you're putting your glue on, I mean, it's 3 seconds, three seconds, and it's dry.
Yeah.
So just give it a little pull. I always find myself doing that just to check. I'm always checking. Just give it a little pull to make sure that it's doing its job. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's the next question? Boy, well, this is an interesting question and answer. Jimmy, we should have you on more because
Yes, I feel like Walter Cronkite.
I think so. I think, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, this next one is from the Upholstery Show Live, from Leslie. I may be able to help the person with the piping issue in Australia.
Oh, wow. So what piping issue was that, Jimmy?
I don't remember.
Oh, I know what it was. It was like they were trying to repair some piping, and I gave them a little tip. Again, another problem solvers, right? The whole idea of some of the YouTube, I don't know if I've ever showed a repair like that on YouTube. I have to say maybe we should save that one. But another reason why we have the quick fix, as we call them on the YouTube, is to show us to save people money and to extend the life of a piece of furniture, which extends the time that it's going to go back into the landfill, which is good for the environment, et cetera, et cetera. So all
Right.
good stuff, right?
Yes.
What's the next thing?
Again, the Upholstery Show Live. This is regards. Thank you so much. I've got a lot to consider, and I'll keep you posted on my car. This is the House of Namely.
Oh yeah, they're subscribers.
That's
What,
the email.
what'd she say? We have a visitor here, so
Yes.
Catherine,
That hot
we understand.
They're gone.
that producer from the that does that Hollywood producer, right?
Steven Spielberg is
Yes,
here.
yes. Steven Spielberg is in the house, boys and girls. So this next one is the last one. Is the 18th century English Victorian chair. I'm working on a chair very similar. This is from Tammy. I'm working on a chair very similar to this, to the white chair in the back. I looked through your videos to see if you had a video on it. If you do, can you please comment the link?
I don't think so. I think that was just in the background, that chair, unfortunately.
Well, do you want to tell her about it? Because I mean, this
I don't really. Is there a picture there?
Well, kind of, sort of. That's why.
On that bottom one?
Yeah.
She says the white chair in the background, so I have no idea what she's talking about. Sorry, Tammy. If you could somehow take a screenshot, is that possible, Michaela, that she can take a screenshot of that YouTube video and send it to us somehow?
Yeah.
So she'll know how to do that, right? So why don't you do that? You can take a frame, take a picture and send it, and maybe we can answer that on our next live show, which, by the way, obviously, we're not going to be here next week. Well, I'm probably going to have to be here, but Jimmy and everybody else will be having fun with their families, but no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we can start a GoFund for Kevin. We can give him maybe some money to go to McDonald's down the street.
Well, not all of us can raise our own turkeys and make our own pies, Mr. Jimmy. I mean,
Well, you know what? Maybe if your wife let you in the kitchen once in a while.
that ain't going to happen. The
Uh,
last time I was let in the kitchen, I confused cod liver oil with olive oil. And you know how that went.
I can see. Yeah, so basically, it's just saying, no, you just stand right there, Mr. K.
All right, Jimmy, you're on now. I would like you to talk about this chair.
I thought you were going to go
Do
to
you want to
Michaela.
catch people up on your chair and what class you're in? And
Well,
I'm going to move this for
Yeah,
you.
let me get this out of the way.
So now that Jimmy's on the tube.
Well, we'll give it a few minute briefing.
Now, Jimmy, why don't you tell us?
A furniture movie.
Hold on a second.
You are unbelievable.
Jimmy's been getting much too much FaceTime with us.
Well, you can take your time. Oh my God, you're unbelievable. Have you been drinking again? We told you to stop that.
No, you brought
So how?
that rum cake. Don't bring in the rum cake.
Oh, let me tell you. Okay, you just reminded me 2 seconds ago. I went to Bermuda on a
Oh,
cruise.
Jimmy, get ready for the mute button here.
No.
He's talking
So
about
when
Ending
we
the stream now.
when Rose and I go and we do the shopping, they did have rum cakes there. So guess what?
Oh.
Guess who's getting a rum
I
cake?
get tipsy eating those.
Yeah, well that's all right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Tipsy. You.
All right.
Oh yeah. So anyway, today Kevin did this last week, the side of it. We did. It took a lot of work. I tell you, these two arms here were just the lesson of the chair because it was just so complex. Even though had to, of course, cut, and this is two pieces because of the fact that here in the middle, if you can't see it, there are two pieces sewn together, and that's how it worked for how we put this together. But the real challenge here was, of course, wrapping it around and underneath, and of course making creases here. And there's 8 of them, Kevin?
There were 6, and they matched
6.
the other one.
Yes. So we had them, of course, one mirroring the other. So there's six creases that we had to use, and of course pleats. Sorry.
Show people how hard your frame. Why is you're having a difficult time with this chair because of the framework.
Well, the framework. This piece here, I don't believe would be here in a normal chair. So of course, trying to squeeze the fabric in. Of course, you see it here. Pulling it through, and it's basically like, I mean, I can't even. You need a screwdriver or a dull pair of scissors or something to push it through because there was no way you were gonna push it through with your fingers. Pulling it through after you get it through was one thing, but this was, and it's on this side as well as the other side, and of course here too as well. You have this piece right here as part of the frame. And of course, now you have to add more. You have to definitely know where you are cutting because right here.
Normally, that's a horizontal rail, not a vertical rail like that.
Yes, obviously they probably thought that, with the weight of the arm and the structure of the chair, that they'd probably be better as far as an up and down.
So this class again is going to be on the online classes. We're not sure when because we're still in the middle of the production on this one, but. If anybody has, this is an interesting class for problem solving. We've done a lot of problem solving.
Oh yes, like I say, the arms alone are a lesson for the whole chair, I think, because
Jimmy, on top of that you don't always know how your fabric's going to work, but this fabric has to be a particularly difficult fabric because it's thin and had no stretch to it.
No, and that's the thing that kind of like the material that I used for the settee. My client wanted it probably lighter than I expected it to be. And he was willing to use it, and I said, given the fact that it wasn't a used piece every day, it was fine. But if it was used like a family, oh, definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not. But I mean, this is, I think, a little more resilient for it. But
Well, on your French settee, you had a cushion that was 100% down.
yes,
And so if you guys know, if you grew up in the 80s when down coats first came out,
yes,
and that was before they had all this other material, and they had to stuff a coat out. Pretty much, you look like the Michelin Man, really.
yeah,
That was down coats, and when I was in the Scouts, only the very wealthy kids had down coats, and they were the warmest.
of
It was
course.
so warm. We had our own flannel shirts.
No,
and coats.
we put newspapers in ours. We kind of like read
Oh,
them.
you were smarter than I.
No, I'm joking. But but I
you know,
remember
that-
them. I mean, when they came out full style, they had the full jacket. But
Yeah.
yes, I mean,
What's interesting about your cushion is that that French settee was made so long ago that people were much smaller. So
yes,
the average height of a man was 5'4", and a woman was probably 5 feet, and they were very light. So that had 100% down cushion in it that was quite nice for the people of that time. But
yeah. But for us heavyweights,
yeah.
I know. But it was,
So check that out too on the online classes. And what Jimmy's doing right now is demonstrating the work and he's talking about how much time is put into these, and there's a lot of back room time, like with the editing that Patrick does and Michaela, which is a tremendous amount of work. So we really look for your support in these classes. Such an effort. Jimmy makes an effort. He comes from a little far away, a couple of towns over to get here. We have to rush here sometimes from another location.
no, you did
classes.
today. You were on
Yeah.
a flying come in further from me.
But I'm not complaining much. We've had good support, but we would
Yep.
like to see more people see the. I think a lot of people maybe not know that what the online classes have for content, and of course, that is paid content, so we try to keep
Well,
the cost down.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you guys are doing. Are you selling lessons by? How is it?
Patrick has packaged them. I think he's trying to focus with people. People have been asking more focused questions or classes what they should use. So he's trying to package that accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it actually comes out to maybe less money for people to spend. They don't have to spend the full subscription rate, Patrick. They can kind of test the waters with one class. We just had somebody purchase. Was it the settee class today?
Yep.
Just today, somebody purchased the settee class. I mean, we would like to see more activity in this department. By the way, we really would. I'm not complaining too much. Because
No, I mean-
we do have our loyal followers, right, Patrick?
Well, I think it's always good to kind of again get the variety going with regard to
Yeah. So, Jimmy, you did a great job explaining. I think it's wonderful. I do want to show people at home the
Okay.
pleat work because I'm really proud of the pleat. We don't have our button in there yet, but
No.
I'm just going to move this down.
But I think next week.
Jimmy
of course.
did this one. He copied this one, which I did, but he did that one, and I think it looks great. So, are there any more comments or questions, Patrick?
Did you do the estimates with Michaela?
Oh, we haven't done the estimates.
Yeah, that's right.
Jimmy,
Kim.
would you like to do this part?
No, go ahead. You always do it.
Do you think Jimmy would be able to do it, Patrick?
No.
He sounds like
It's
he's tired.
hard.
He's exhausted after
Jimmy's
his,
tired.
class.
Jimmy, I want you to sit here, okay?
Are you
Just
trying
sit
to
down,
set me up
relax.
for something?
Relax. And
The light's
put
gonna go
your-
He's
down.
not
or
a
something?
thousand
Put your
years
feet
old.
up and close your eyes. Look over the pond. Okay, the pond is.
He's gonna put me out in the middle of Main Street. I know.
I'm just kidding. I guess you didn't read of Mice and Men, that book of Mice and Men, Lenny.
No,
and
I
George.
saw the movie Meatballs and what they did to that camp counselor, where every time he slept, basically he was out in front of the camp.
That's hilarious. What am I doing now? Michaela and I are going to do the favor. I mean, it gets back to business here. Come on, Jimmy. And
Yeah,
he's
to
talking
the real
about-
business.
He's talking about meatballs. I'm talking about never mind.
But that's an Oscar-winning movie.
Okay, you ready?
Yep, there's one from November 19th, Andrew.
November 19th. November 19th. Okay. You want to read that, Michaela?
Hoping to get a couch reupholstered. The frame is good, but the fabric is worn and frayed, and the cushions are mishappen and their covers are ripping. I'm wondering if you could help and provide a rough estimate on price and how long it might take to refreshen this piece of furniture up.
So let's give them a basic price. Let's just start with the basic price. What I mean by that, let's not get into cushion. We're going to tell them after we're done that does not include new cushioning on this because we need to have a second discussion. So what we do, we try to get people over the first hurdle on pricing and how many yards of fabric they would need, just to kind of give them a general direction. Some people say they kind of pull out at that point, so this kind of saves us a little time. So all you people out there who are trying to, estimating is very difficult for people. That's why I think people like this segment. So I'm looking at this sofa. It's based on hours, how many hours you get set your shop time, your hour per how much you want to get per hour. That's based a lot on where you are too, and your expenses, and where you are in your life too. I mean, some people are well situated. They can start with a half of a labor price, and just to get their business their business moving. I mean, so there's a lot of components to this. But for me, we are a business that we rely on custom work for our living, and so we these are real pricing that we try to make some profit on, and they're competitive, which is interesting. We are competing with other upholsterers, so in all kinds of ways, customer service, quality, delivery. I mean, the list goes on and on. So it's a very challenging industry, but so isn't everything else. But anyhow,
I just want to say, okay, interrupt. Randy wants to know if that's a nailed button going on Jimmy's.
yes, it's so we're going to use a good question. We're going to use a 14-inch nail button with those little prongs in them, so that when it goes in well. And that's going to be a whole class, Patrick, maybe half of a class to show Jimmy how to make those. You're going to make them yourself.
Oh, baby.
And there's a little trick there, Randy. I don't know if you know it. If you guys are going to make a nail button, but you put a little piece of cardboard in between the two components of the button, so that when you hammering that nail in,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't come through the button. the top.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's a trick. We'll show you. That's going to be on this online class if you guys are interested. All right. So the price on that is $2,400 labor plus 20 yards of fabric, and then we're going to say does not include cushioning. Let's be clear about that. We can talk, or we need to talk about the cushioning because I don't know what type of cushioning they want. And sometimes honestly, you guys, I'll look at a piece of furniture. This is a mid-century. I think I know the maker on this. I didn't show you yet, did I, you guys? Hold on a second. I didn't show people yet, Patrick. Always remind me to do that. Hold on, because you don't have that up, right?
Mm.
So it's not. It's funny. This is a cross between mid-century and traditional. I would say that this sofa was probably skirted at one time, and they made it contemporary by one of the upholstery jobs. They took it off, the skirt off, to make it more contemporary. The thing that, if you notice that the arms flare a little bit, usually on mid-century furniture, they don't flare. They're straight up arms on mid-century. So I'm thinking that they did modernize it, which is kind of nice. I kind of like the style, actually. But I think I wanted, as far as the cushions go, sometimes the cushioning, there's nothing wrong with the cushioning, you guys. So I need another discussion with them to ask them, do you like the way it sits? Yes, I like the way it sits. I said, so why change the cushioning and why pay? So the reason you might say, oh, he's not a great businessman, he's not making money, he can make another $1,000 on the cushioning, which could happen on this job, I'm not sure. But if somebody is comfortable, why would you change it? There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not one of these people that goes, we do it. If somebody wants to go down to the frame for any reason, whether it be cat damage or urine or anything like that, we can do it, but it's almost triple the cost.
They also ask how long of a general time frame would this take?
So here's FYI for people who are starting their own little businesses out there. I don't even think Mikhail and Patrick know this. I have actually 2 time frames. I don't get into this a lot. I'll get into it with customers. I don't want to confuse people. I've been doing this so long. So I have 1 time frame for slip seats and small jobs. And I have another time frame for the big jobs. The big jobs always go into this. Right now we're about 6 weeks behind. So it always goes in a big job like this. Very rarely can I turn around a sofa of this size fast. So, but on slip seats, somebody comes in. They want a slip seat for Thanksgiving. It's too late now, Jimmy, but they come in now. They came in 2 weeks ago. We got a couple jobs out before and we met all our deadlines this year. And 6 weeks is not bad. I like to be about 6 weeks. Once I start to get 8 to 10, I get a little nervous because people sometimes don't want to wait that long. So.
Rightfully so.
Okay, so you get another one, or is that it for that one?
That is it for that one.
So you can see, you guys, usually when Mikhail and I are doing this by ourselves and are not live, we're doing these much faster, but I'm offering explanations, which is what you guys want to hear, I imagine. We've gotten feedback on this part, Patrick, on this segment, right?
Yeah.
That people love this segment,
Especially people who have their own shops.
or even doing work for friends. Work for friends is always a problem. Right, Jimmy? You've done work for some friends,
Yes,
right?
I have.
You've
I've
got to
done-
charge them the same as what you charge, or it's up to you if you want to give them a little off, right?
Yeah, you want to make it reasonable for everybody, but they have to understand. Sometimes I don't believe people understand the concept with regard to you stripping down the chair, total redo if that's the case, and building it right back up again. What it takes is, it's not. You're probably talking a good 6, maybe 8 hours of total redo to just reupholstering a piece.
Yeah. And what's the next one, Michaela?
There's another one from November 18th. It's
Michael?
Michael.
So, Michael, you want to read that?
Yes, he didn't include photos at first, but he did send them. So he says, I want to bring in a leather lounge chair and its ottoman to be reupholstered and not sure where to begin. Obviously, I need to pick the upholstery. Not sure if you do leather, but I'm willing to go cloth. What kind of measurements do I need to give you folks to determine a cost estimate? Thank you. Looking forward to having a new chair that doesn't have peeling leather falling from it.
So, he did follow up with the pictures.
Yeah, we
and
requested photos and
which I
he
just
sent
showed.
photos.
And he's got you guys, he's got the faux leather, I can tell that's faux leather that's falling apart. I hate it. I don't use it. I've stopped using it a few years ago, and I don't do leather anymore because leather is as poor quality too. So I'm glad he said in his message that he would do fabric because that's all we would do for him. But I would tell you something that most leather furniture or faux leather furniture I've noticed, usually it's a good framed furniture, so it's worth doing over again. So that said, his chair's going to be $12.50 labor. The ottoman's going to be $5.25 because that's a semi-attached ottoman. They're always tough to do. And they want a total amount of fabric for both the chair and the ottoman, which is going to be 12 yards. 12 yards total, okay?
Yep.
Ooh, this is a wild chair. The next one,
Yep. It's
Mark?
Mark, yeah.
Why don't you read that?
He says, this old wingback chair needs to be completely reupholstered after being damaged by 2 cats over several years. Can you recommend a fabric that is more difficult for cats to damage? Maybe a micro fabric?
I think we're going to let you answer that part of it, but let me just show the picture, which is really... This is a channeled back wing chair, which is really kind of funny looking to me, but you don't usually see a straight back, channeled back wing chair like
That's
that.
like a mix between the two classes
See
we're
that,
doing.
Jimmy?
Oh my God.
It looks like there was
Jimmy, you should have got that, and you could have done both classes in one.
I know.
It looks like it was an accident or something. I don't know. Let's not insult though.
No, I'm just saying, it's
He likes
unusual.
it. Right, it is unusual. He likes it, so I'm not going to comment on it like saying,
No, I'm
where
not.
did you get that hybrid? It's a hybrid, Jimmy. You drive a hybrid, don't you?
No.
All right.
Moving on.
Moving on. I'm going to let Michaela answer the fabric portion of it because I'm not sure she can maybe talk about it, but about cat-proof fabric. I don't think there is a cat-proof
There's
fabric.
no cat-proof fabric, but it's
called a dog.
something that's less
Not much
textured,
better
something
sometimes.
that's not textured.
Something that they can't get their claws in initially, because the first time they put their claws in, it's all over. If they can get their sharpened claws, and they are sharpened, they sharpen them themselves, right, Jimmy?
Yes.
And they can go through, and then it's the pullback that they like. It's not the
Yeah.
pushing in; it's the pullback.
Yes.
So they're always looking for that pullback through, and then once they get through once, that's it. And then that's sad, right? That's my theory.
So is that why we giving away the cats with every piece of furniture?
Yeah, you're gonna continue to put the catnip inside.
Yeah, rub it all over the furniture.
I just want to read a comment from Omnipotent Mom, which I think is Erica.
Yes.
Is it?
I think
I
so.
think so.
Yeah.
She's been on a long time. So she
Yeah,
says
welcome
hello.
back.
Apparently she's been remodeling, so upholstery has been on hold for her.
Oh,
She says, I
okay.
get tons of compliments on the work I've done myself. It's all through Kevin's wonderful teaching and classes.
Well, did she
Oh,
mention
that's
me?
great.
Oh, your name isn't even in there at all, Jimmy.
Jeez, don't forget.
Cancel her.
We have live in the studio Aquaman starring in his online class How to Upholster a Shellback Chair.
You could have had me go to Florida. You guys decided to do the budget thing again.
I'm
So
sorry.
you like how the shell floats over the screen?
Look,
onto
nothing's
your chair?
gonna take it back. Basically, you just said you screwed me. That's all. I can accept it. I'm good.
And I have something in store for the wingback.
Ooh.
Oh.
We asked Jimmy if he were a bird, what type of bird would he be, based on the wingback chair, and he said eagle.
Well, what did you say, Mr.
I don't know why you insulted.
Mr. National Geographic?
I don't know why he was insulted. I said sparrow, but sparrows have their own personalities, and they're an important bird in the wild.
For the
kingdom
other
out
feeding people, for the other birds.
Malcolm said catnip stuffing.
Oh my God!
there. I hope our customers aren't watching this.
Erica says, yes, Jimmy too.
Oh, there you go. Jimmy. Come
okay.
Take
on.
All
that
right.
comment back, Jimmy.
Okay. But catnip stuffing.
She said, I found coconut fiber in a chair recently.
Oh, she got to send me some. We got to start corresponding or something.
Definitely do pictures of that.
Well,
That's
I'll
awesome.
tell you, you know, when I found it, it was just my mistake that I dealt with it the way I did. It was not. I was afraid of when I dried it in the dryer. It was, excuse me, it was going to be way too hot, and I was worried that it was going to get sensitive like that. So, but yeah, I learned my lesson from
Did
that.
you use the whole coconut when you did it, or just the fiber?
Oh my.
Oh, man. Yeah. Let's do a YouTube video about that. I'll tell you what. In March, I'll go down to Florida because that's where I'll be, and I'll find some coconuts. I'll have a few around me. We'll do a YouTube video about how to de-shred a coconut. And
I would love to
Kinda.
see that if you can do that, Jimmy.
yeah,
Pull that
I think
off.
at this point,
Why don't you hold
that's all
your
there's
breath?
left to do.
why don't you hold your breath on that too?
So we didn't finish this one. I said I gave you the labor, right?
Not yet.
1,200. No, actually, we need to increase that with the channels a little harder. 1,300 and 8 yards. Now, keep in mind, you guys. You know, we have fans all over the place. I mean, in Belgium, Malcolm's in Belgium, right, Patrick?
No, that's Lucas.
Lucas is in Belgium. Remember, he invited us down there. Jimmy's
Yeah,
always
wasn't he?
excited.
Didn't he comment last week on how he got a new massive warehouse? Wasn't he the one?
Yeah,
Oh,
Jimmy
yeah.
bought his plane ticket already, but there's no
I was
forwarding
looking
address.
up how much would it cost.
It's a one-way ticket, right, Patrick? You're gonna get Jimmy.
That's all right. I'll
never
put
come
myself
back.
as a foster adult. I mean, there must be something out there.
There's got to be. If anybody wants to adopt Jimmy, I know he's.
I'm willing. I'm cheap. I'm able. You know.
All right. Is there another one, Michaela?
Yes, there's another one.
One more?
I believe there's one more. Yes.
People at home are going, "Oh my God! Thank
Easy.
God it's one
Thank
more."
God I can. Where's the off button? Is what I'm saying.
Jean Marie? No, that's not it.
All right. There was one.
I think that's it.
Well, there was one that you didn't answer. It was that giant sectional for the.
All right, we can look at that. What's the name on that one? You want to highlight that? Jean Marie, right?
I did have it highlighted. I can't find it right now.
It's Jean Marie Court. Jean Marie. It's a sectional, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah, I got it. Yeah, it's that one.
Oh boy, that's a huge job, you guys. That's you know, when you look at this, really, that's probably it's got to be 100 hours in this.
Let me see.
Yeah, easy.
Oh my God.
So I have another problem with transportation of these large pieces. You know, I have a small truck, so
That would be about 4 or 5 trips.
it would be at least 3 trips. So you have to factor that in.
Shipping, pickup, and
Yeah.
delivery.
Yeah, I mean,
Where is she
even
from?
the fabric,
Um,
Winthrop.
yeah, sectional in Winthrop, Mass.
Okay.
So we're talking about, you know, I have to price this knowing all that. We're talking about $7,000. I'm going to say $8,000 labor. I mean, it sounds like a lot of money, doesn't it?
It does.
But when you figure that this is going to take me 2, 4, 6, 8, I'd say total 100 hours, and we're
Wow.
$80 an hour.
Wow.
That's $8,000, and that's not. You know, I'm trying to factor in the 3 times I'm going to have to go, the space it's going to take up in the shop. I mean,
Right.
big jobs always take longer because of all those things. Logistically, they're hard to get in and out. Oftentimes, you find yourself falling behind on schedule with not only this big piece but small pieces too that you could be doing.
Right.
Small pieces always transition faster. These things you have to worry about, and especially in a small space, which we have.
How many yards of fabric would that be?
She hasn't gotten to that yet. I haven't gotten to that yet. But you're talking, I'm going to separate this out to each individual piece. There are arms on the ends of the 2, the left and the right. So those are going to require a little bit more. I would say that you're going to get at least 15 yards each on those. That's 30 plus the middle piece. I'm going to say another 15 yards. We're going to say 45 yards.
Oh my God.
But I'm going to also say 50 yards because that's a bolt of fabric, and that sometimes fabric comes in bolts.
Mm-hmm.
But it gives me a little wiggle room because, again, I'm only seeing a picture. I'm not getting dimensions.
So
This
would
is
it be
just the
better?
first-
Would it be better to go out to the
Not
house?
yet. Well,
I mean, unless they're very serious about
you're
it.
right. Going
Yeah,
out.
She
is a
did
problem.
mention calling, and she would give you dimensions and
Well,
more,
let's
and more
just-
details.
That's the first shot over the bow. Sometimes people look at that price and they balk and they say I can get it depending on the manufacturer. So this is just the first answer back.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I look at this as far as, even though I'm getting that type of money for that, it sounds like a lot to me. But I know that if I had 10 smaller jobs, there's more profit in it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because I don't have to call you to come in to help me. I can work the one piece by myself.
Right.
There's a lot of factors in that. Is that all?
Yes, that's it.
Well, and speaking of fabric, Randy says, Kevin, if you've leftover fabric from a job, do you give it back to the customer? And you do, right?
Mainly I do, yeah.
Someti- yeah, it depends on if they ask for it or not.
Yeah.
Because I know some people, just want to have it just in case.
Sometimes, honestly, you guys, the more skillful of an upholsterer you are, usually you find that you're saving fabric. So yeah, you can throw some back. Sometimes there is extra, but that's only showing the skill of the upholsterer if there's extra fabric. You wouldn't know how many people run out of fabric. A lot of people run out of fabric and they're calling their customers saying we need more fabric. It's not because they underestimated it. It's perhaps because they haven't gotten their cutting down right yet. Yeah.
This is a cool one. Malcolm says, recently I made a meditation cushion and used Excelsior. I think that's what, and for the stuffing, which is curly wood strips.
Yeah. Somebody else
Wow.
mentioned that too.
It just sounds painful to me, but maybe maybe there's a reason why if it's a meditation.
If it's a really fine fiber, I'm not sure it is. But right now, you guys, I'm in a horsehair chair and I'm feeling all these little needles coming through it.
I know. So I'm like, wow.
All these little this horsehair. That's why you would better take cotton. Cotton is the only solution to that problem, right? Right. You can feel your hands like little pins all along here.
And Randy follows up, how do you move a large job like that around the shop? Usually I help you, but if I'm not there...
the shop, our shop is in Arlington's only 500 square feet, Jimmy.
Well, we need to kind of, look at that. Patrick and I had talked about we were going off on other things, but
If only we could have a giant warehouse.
Well, unfortunately...
Just like over
even-
in Belgium there.
right.
even 1,500 feet would do you good.
Yeah, 1,500 feet's that's gonna be 3 times the amount of rent.
No,
In the Boston
I think
area,
we
but
can try.
anyway.
I think if you stayed within Arlington, Belmont, Waltham, I think.
So, Jimmy, I understand you've done a poem about upholstery,
a
or
poem?
you've written a song
No,
about
I haven't
upholstery.
done anything.
On
like
that note, bye guys.
I want to thank everybody for showing up today. I'm sorry, Kevin. Kevin's going back to rehab tomorrow.
That's great, Jimmy. We'll see you guys later.
Hey, thanks guys. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Yes,
Yes.
happy Thanksgiving.
We'll see you
everyone.
next week.
Rehab, what's that about?
Yeah,